Who's opening?
You go ahead. I co-sponsored with you.
Okay.
So you.
Is this like put low because you think I'm that low?
I answered it.
That was quick. Very offensive. Thank you very much for being here today. It's an honor to be here with not only my good friend Don Bacon, who is very tan, if you've noticed.
I have grandkids in a pool.
And Jonathan Greenblatt, who is really just one of the greatest leaders we have right now, standing up to hate not just in the United States, but around the world. And I'm very grateful for him, for his friendship and incredible leadership. You know, we all know there's been an explosion of disinformation and anti-Semitic hate online and on social media platforms, not just here in our country, but around the world. And that's especially since October 7th, when Hamas terrorists kidnapped, raped, decapitated, burned alive, and brutally murdered 1,200 innocent babies, children, women, men, elderly, including many Americans. That's why we're announcing a new tool in our online arsenal to protect our nation against terrorist organizations and adversaries that continue to innovate and threaten us in new ways. Using social media platforms, state sponsors of terror and their proxies, especially in Iran, Hamas, and its affiliates, are turning online content into a tool of propaganda and disinformation. There's no reason why anyone, especially terrorists or anyone online, should have access to social media platforms to promote radical, hate-filled violence. Far-known platforms including CCP, connected TikTok, have little to no content moderation policies that expose young Americans to propaganda from our adversaries. After the shooting outside the Capitol Jewish Museum, anti-Zionist extremist groups flocked to social media to call for further violence. On Instagram, extremist groups posted news of the attack with the caption, "May all Zionists burn." One group leader even posted the text, death to Nazis, on top of photos of the victims, and even AI is fanning the flames of hate. As you know, you probably saw with Brock, but the X's AI chat box posting a barrage of violent anti-Semitic content. The bottom line is there's a massive disinformation campaign influencing us each day. That's why we're announcing bipartisan legislation, the Stopping Terrorist Online Presence and Holding Accountable Tech Entities Act, shorter, the Stop Hate Act, to bring common sense to this situation. And I'm very grateful for my good friend Don Bacon for leading this, as he has always stood up to hate and extremism. This bipartisan legislation will require social media companies to release detailed public reports of violations of their terms of service and to outline how they're addressing these violations, which includes the use of their platforms by terrorist groups. Every day companies fail to report this information, it will result in a $5 million fine. Social media companies can no longer hide the crimes that take place on their platforms, especially when they pose a threat to America's national security. And we're very proud this bill has the backing of the Anti-Defamation League. For years, like Don, I've been a cop on a beat with the help of those here today from the ADL to protect Americans from the influence of terrorists. In 2019, I led a bipartisan effort calling on Twitter to stop bucking U.S. law and defending terrorist organizations, including Hamas and Hezbollah, and to take down terrorist content on the platform. I worked on the Online Terrorism Prevention Act to punish companies who refuse to take down terrorist content, and the Chats Act to tackle social media being used as a tool for crime. We have to take this on. We can't sit idly by. Together, working together, I know we'll get this done. We'll ensure that all social media companies who I know in the United States want to do the right thing to make sure they stand up to these threats in this great country. There's no reason why we can't take this on. Thanks so much. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to my dear friend, Don Bacon.
Thank you. I feel like very close friend with this guy. We came in together, and we'll probably, I think we're going out about the same time together, aren't we?
Well, you're sending me home?
Well, no.
Thank you. I have no announcement to make here, Don.
We came in together and we worked together a lot on anti-Semitism. I would say also a lot of foreign affairs, national security issues, and it's been a real treat to be a partner working with Congressman Gottheimer. And I appreciate Jonathan Greenblatt for what him and his ADL stands for. I know you've made us better with your feedback and ideas and recommendations, and it's been a treat to get to know you. I saw anti-Semitism for the first time when I was 15 years old. I had good parents who taught me it was wrong, but it left a lasting impression on seeing my first incident as a teenager. And if you're on my social media, you see it every day from people that are responding back with what I consider is clearly anti-Semitic kind of messages on social media. I even saw a article today, it was about me, but it was talking about we had to oppose congressmen who are pro-Zionists, right? And you're like, in other words, it's all over our social media, and it's unacceptable. We live in the greatest country in the world. 330 million people. We come from diverse backgrounds with diverse ethnicities. Everybody in our country is entitled to respect and not to be an object of hate and scorn. And when I saw the protests out here the last 2 days, they were vile, right? They were, you could see the anti-Semitism in their comments and how they were treating some of our members of Congress who are Jewish. And I saw that firsthand. It's unacceptable. And so we want to be in a country that makes clear that anti-Semitism or any kind of racism is repugnant, unacceptable, not allowed in my space, and with zero tolerance for it. And people should feel like that they're scorned for having these ideas and espousing these ideals. And we need to work with our social media companies to clean this up, because what is going on is wrong. And I think it's further influencing other more people that can be influenced by what they're seeing that this is acceptable behavior. It is not. So we need to hold these companies accountable and work with them to take it off the airwaves. So I'm glad to work with my good friend on this. I appreciate Mr. Greenblatt being here as well.
The fact that a guy named Bacon is dealing with anti-Semitic attacks tells you everything you need to know. And you've been really, since we came in together, and we've worked together on anti-Semitism, on U.S.-Israel relationship. You've stood there year after year and worked hard and been out there and not afraid to put yourself out there, which I'm really grateful for.
That's the right thing to do.
It is. And another man who every day puts himself out there and faces a huge amount of blowback for it, but never backs down. Jonathan Greenblatt.
So good afternoon. I want to thank Congressman Gottheimer and Congressman Bacon for their leadership and for inviting me here today to talk about Stop Payback. I think it's safe to say we are absolutely living through very troubling times because anti-Semitism and bigotry of all forms is surging. In 2024, the ADL tracked 9,354 anti-Semitic incidents. It's the highest number we've ever recorded. It's the 5th time in the last 6 years we've broken the record. It was a 344% increase over the past 5 years. It's a 10x increase in the past decade. And globally, the picture is just as alarming. According to the ADL Global 100 Index, an estimated 2.2 billion adults worldwide. We're talking about more than 46% of the adult population on the planet harbor anti-Semitic attitudes. That is double the number that we found a decade ago. The world's oldest hate isn't spreading on its own. It's gone viral in large part because of social media. This is one of the main drivers supercharging the spread of anti-Jewish bigotry and the just unmitigated proliferation of extremism online. They exploit these extremists, these radicals, these bigots. They exploit social media to recruit, to radicalize, and to incite violence, often in violation of the company's own terms of service. It's not just theoretical, there's a real concern. Congressman Bacon referenced what he saw literally just outside this building over the last few days. Congressman Gottheimer has been victimized in real life and online as well. And we're just literally, I think, 2 months and a day from the shooting at the Washington Capitol Jewish Museum. We're just a few weeks since the firebombing in Boulder, Colorado. And these incidents, yes, they were repellent. They were celebrated online in the same kind of quarters that we're talking about here. Since January 2020, again, in the last 5+ years, we've documented 16 terror plots or organized attacks targeting Jews or Zionist or Jewish institutions in the U.S. 9 of them occurred in just the last 12 months. And at the same time, we've seen how social media has been used by foreign terror organizations, especially designated global terrorists, to spread propaganda, to raise money, to incite attacks. They use the internet, they use these sort of services as a force multiplier. That's why I applaud Congressman Gottheimer and Congressman Bacon for reintroducing Stop Hate Act. It's bipartisan, and it's launched not because they are Democrat or Republican, because they're patriots who understand what our country needs, to hold the tech companies accountable, and to get them to curb the content. You know what's hard? It is hard to build a $1 trillion business. It is hard to build products that reach billions of people every day. It's hard to generate the worldwide attention that we do. You know what's easy? To knock off the Nazis. That's not so hard. And these are the most sophisticated, the most profitable businesses, not just in capitalism today, in the history of capitalism. We're not asking for them to change their businesses, we're just asking for them to get it right. So I want to express my sincere thanks to the Congressman for their leadership and partnership on this issue and for their broader efforts to combat anti-Semitism, extremism, and all forms of hate. This work must remain a national, bipartisan priority. And as we lose distinguished members like Congressman Bacon, let's hope that the next generation will pick up the mantle that he represents. So I urge Congress to act now and pass the Stop Hate Act once and for all. Thank you.
Any questions?
Have you spoken to any of these social media companies, or do you get a sense of how they're going to respond to this?
We've done, I personally done a lot of outreach with social media companies over the years, and I think some of them are really interested and are working to try to root this out and put processes in place.